The leaks for chapter 337 have just dropped, and I can't believe anything. In this video, we see a whole beef starting between the Starboy Isagi and the analytical crow of Blue Lock Karasu. After that, we head right into the match, which starts off with a Loki versus Rin matchup. And then the ending is just insane. But that's far from everything, and the rest, I will keep a secret so as not to waste any time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the chapter starts off with the text saying, "Amidst the whirlpool of joy, Isagi feels a change." After that, we start off with the opening panel where we see all of them still celebrating Hiyori's magical goal. After that, the commentator speaks up and says that Blue Lock Japan has finally caught up. This heated battle is far from over, it starts from here. However, after that, we leave all the happy people and head over to Isagi, who looks a bit lost in thought as he wonders about what is happening to Blue Lock right now. He continues and wonders to himself where this team is headed. He stands alone on the pitch, just wondering what he should believe in. He then looks right over to Ego, who is just watching this, and he then says his name as he feels Ego's glance. Just then, however, Karasu comes by and calls out to Isagi. Isagi is a bit caught off guard since he has so much in thought already, but Karasu straight up tells him that they are going with the current way of doing things. Isagi just looks at him really confused and wondering what he is going on about. Karasu then goes a bit more into depth as he tells him that, to be honest, the marking on him was so tight that the strategy they prepared wasn't functioning at all. He then holds his hand out and starts to look a bit manic as he says that. So just like how he did it now, he is going to completely commit to being a support, explaining that he is going to invent a new goal pattern through a route other than Isagi. Everything in order to finally beat France, asking Isagi if this isn't the only way right now. Isagi looks a bit shocked before he starts to speak. He says that sure, he might be right, but still, he asks Karasu if it is really okay for him to just throw away his life as a striker. Karasu is now the one who becomes shocked and confused as he tells Isagi that he isn't following, telling him that it isn't true at all, and that he isn't saying that he is going to throw it away. He goes deeper into it as he tells Isagi that besides, he has done this before too, haven't him, switching to an assist temporarily, or just becoming a link-up player in order to jeer the results that makes the team win. Isagi responds and tells him that sure, he has done that before. Karasu then cuts him off before he can talk anymore and says that right now he is just doing the same thing as that. He continues and tells Isagi that if he starts talking about the way of life as a striker, then what about Gagamaru playing as a straight-up goalkeeper right now, or the guys playing as their defenders? They wouldn't be able to do their jobs if they also didn't do this. Isagi looks right at Karasu and tells him that he is right, but somehow he feels a sense of wrongness from him right now. Hearing that changes everything, as Karasu starts to feel a bit annoyed as he asks Isagi what that is even supposed to mean, telling him to not go denying it because he just can't put it into words. After that, I'm not going to lie, but Karasu gets such an insane panel as he looks so dope, and he tells Isagi that at the very least, unlike Isagi, the current Karasu is trying to change for the sake of Blue Lock, and he then calls him an idiot. Which, alright, that was a bit unnecessary, as Isagi starts to look super shocked. However, the shock wasn't out of anger, but instead something else as he tells Karasu to wait up. He tells him that this is it, saying that this is the true nature of this wrongness that he is feeling. Karasu is super confused once again. It feels like I have been saying it for a while now, but it's really like that now. Anyhow, Isagi continues and tells him that it's weird to say that he is doing it for Blue Lock. He continues and says that playing football where the subject isn't for himself, and that he can't believe that it's the right way to be an egoist. By the way, while this is going on, all of the other players start to overhear their conversation and pay attention to what is happening between them, as we spot Bachira looking over there, and also the goat. Chigiri asks about what it is that is happening. Hey, it's Natsu, mid-editing here, and I just wanted to pause the video to ask you to subscribe if you haven't already, and while you are already down there, why not leave a like as well? Isagi continues and says that everyone aims to be the world's #1 striker, bending that philosophy and being influenced by Hugo's words. He puts his hand on his chest and tells him that as the world's #2, he is making the team winning the priority, explaining that the current him is absolutely wrong for Blue Lock. However, this whole conversation was something that Karasu truly didn't like to hear as it got dark around him, and he told Isagi, fine then, telling him to go and score a goal and calling him a piece of trash. And if I can give my 2 cents right here, then I think that this whole beef could have been avoided, and that both said pretty stupid things, but what to do, right? Moving back, we see Isagi, who is just in pure amazement of Karasu's last sentence, as he just tells him what. Karasu then starts to yap again, and tells him that since he isn't working out as a striker, he is over here trying to change by taking in the opinions of the enemy. Or if that isn't what Isagi just told him, asking Isagi if he is saying that it's more Blue Lock-like for them to get crushed by France just for Isagi's sake. He then just keeps on throwing punch after punch as he says that the one who's trying to destroy Blue Lock by acting like a number one and spinning his wheels is none other than Isagi himself. And Karasu then ends it by calling Isagi an ordinary person, which really looked like it hit home, as it seems like Isagi's whole world stopped. And right then, Isagi just loses it, which I don't blame him for, but he starts to scream right at Karasu. He tells him that he is also thinking about Blue Lock, explaining that he is standing here having thought about how he should be as Blue Lock's number one, just for the sake of Blue Lock. And we even see Isagi's veins starting to pop out of his face as he gets just that angry. Karasu then looks him right in his eyes and tells him that he is saying it now, continuing as he tells Isagi that the subject is saying, for the sake of Blue Lock, how is that any different from him? And hearing that, it looks like it either makes Isagi think twice or get more angry. But we have no idea as Aiku then comes by and breaks it up. He puts his hand on Isagi's head and tells them all to stop it and to cool their heads. Aiku then starts to smile and tells them that both of them are correct and asks them how about thinking of it that way, saying that it's a fact that results came from the way Karasu suggested, and the egoistic philosophy Isagi is talking about is important too. After that, if you decide to take in both, and while letting them clash intensely, they will find a new form for Blue Lock, which will lead to them winning, asking them how all of this sounds. Isagi is a bit hesitant, but he is the first to speak as he says, "Alright." Karasu also says that it's fine, continuing and explaining that in that case, either way, Blue Lock seems like a time where if they don't change now, it's over. And after that, we end that panel with seeing Ego eyeing all of them intensely, and I just wonder what it is that is going through his head right now. We then move on to the France side, and we see Charles, who says that they have caught up, explaining that this is a super unpleasant situation, right? Loki then joins into it, and says that, well, this way is better, explaining that he thinks that it will be more enjoyable than a total blowout. We then can't forget about the dead-looking Hugo, who tells them that they are all correct, and that from now on, he will lead this battlefield even further, and everything toward destiny. With that, the match has now restarted, and we spot Loki's aura starts to get let free as he is the one with the ball, but in front of him, it's Rin who tells him to give it a shot, and calls him a flawless elite group, explaining that over here they are all starving for a goal. Loki comes dashing right to him, and asks him if that is right before telling him that they over there are feeling exactly the same thing, and with that, the matchup between the two of them starts. While that is going on, we see Isagi standing on the pitch. We then move into his head as he thinks that the way for the next goal has been decided, but fundamentally, nothing has been resolved yet, explaining that even the Karasu and Hiyori goal earlier, if they get wary of it, will surely become hard to use, calling it a low reproducibility goal pattern. He starts to look over towards Rin and Loki, who are going at it, and says that unless he becomes effective, then nothing will change. However, the only way of life known as number 2 is something that he will absolutely hate after all. Just as we see Hugo, who goes right up to Isagi, and I mean that he is uncomfortably close as he goes to whisper into his ear. Hugo tells him that number 2 is an egoist too, explaining that being number 1 isn't the only answer in life. Isagi, on the other hand, can't even take this in his brain as he looks extremely confused before he then smacks away Hugo. Hugo then gets some distance, thankfully, but he tells Isagi to just listen to him and to listen to his number 2 ego, which sounds decently dope, I'm not going to lie. After that, the ending text says that pride is number 2, and a person who adapts to destiny speaks of the meaning and way of life of the self. With that, I can with happiness tell you guys that there is absolutely no break next week, so the peak, which is currently taking place inside of Blue Lock, will continue to rise. Also, the next chapter will be called Double Joker. And now let me tell you guys that the two people who can be called Joker are, of course, Shidu and Baru, and I don't want to jinx anything. However, if we could see a possible sub in with the two of them somehow, that would be insanely sick. Anyway, today's leaks were filled with so much heat, so it's hard to even process it. Like we have a whole beef being started by Karasu and Isagi, and I just know that it's not the end of that and far from it, if you ask me. However, what I want to know is what you guys thought of today's leaks and whether you liked them or not. Please rate them in the comments and give me your favorite moment. Anyway, if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.